Well, guys, welcome back to the shop. It's been about maybe 3 weeks, about past 2 weekends. This past weekend I had a job, and then I think the weekend before that I was working on my personal vehicle, my Charger. But we are back, and we are back on this, the truck, the show truck to be exact. Right now I'm in the process of grinding the rest of where the loops were. I got this one grinded down pretty flat. You know, it's pretty smooth. You can see a little outline, but that was just, I mean, it's smooth. Like, it ain't, nothing's gonna affect that. And now I'm in the process of this one. This one's a little more of a headache just because there's a bolt right here. That bolt goes to the steering box, but I could remove that bolt. I could. But the thing about that is that there is like a little raised lip to where that bolt can like sit down on. So basically grinding that, all the grinding dust is kind of like landing on my arm and stuff. So it's kind of burning, but I'm powering through it because pain is temporary. But I'm waiting on, battery died. I'm waiting for this other one to charge. Both my batteries, one was not on the Charger. It's already been used. I'm just kind of waiting for it to fully charge, and that way I give my arm a break. I don't know if you can hear in the background, but there we go. Got some AC in the shop. It is a 2-ton window unit. Basically, I think it's like 24,000 BTU. Keeps the shop pretty cool, keeps the humidity down. During the day, if the sun's beating on the shop, it is a little, it does stay warm, but the humidity stays down in here, which is really kind of what I want to do. For one, for the tools and everything that I have in here, kind of want to keep the humidity down. And two, of course, to cool off the shop while I'm working in here. I have worked on in here during like the afternoon and whatnot, and I mean it's fairly comfortable. I will have to run my fan, the big shop fan, but like right now it's nighttime. It's like, I think it's maybe 10 p.m. and the shop is like a cool 72. I've had it as far as like 67 in the shop. 67. Anyways, it's doing good for right now, but I'm in the works of possibly getting a 3-ton unit, like an actual unit, and I can just use the existing hole that I put the window unit in, just basically route the ductwork into that way. And you can see I made the frame and all that. But anyways, yes, the shop's not insulated. To be honest, I don't care. Yes, it is probably an efficiency killer, but I don't have the money to sit here and just spray foam or put styrofoam insulation. It's just way too expensive, and you can't just find used products like that like you can a used unit. Like a used unit, I got a buddy, $500 for a 3-ton, and it works. And it's got heat. It's a package unit. Cooling and heating, $500. Can't beat that. You can't just sit here and go on Facebook Marketplace or have a buddy be like, hey, I have this used or leftover insulation or something like that. I don't care about none of that. Just something to keep the shop cool. But I'm gonna stop ranting about that because this is about the show truck. So, as I said, I'm grinding on that last bit to make sure the frame is flat. And then what I'm going to do while the battery is charging on this side, which is the passenger side, I'm going to take some cardboard. I have some right here. Got a big, nice sheet of cardboard. I got more sheets. I got like 6 other sheets for doing stuff like this. I'm just basically gonna take this piece of cardboard and make a template. I'm gonna turn y'all around and show y'all. So I'm basically gonna make a template starting from at the edge of here, have a little meat, I should say, a little bit of metal, because it kind of like divots, like it goes straight divots, and then it kind of comes out this way. So I'm basically gonna try to get it on the edge of that crease, of metal. That way the bolt has, you know, some meat to hang on to. And basically make a template all the way up into here. Yeah, make up into here. I'm gonna use these existing bolt holes. They are threaded. There's nuts in there. I believe they're welded to the frame, but I'm going to reuse this. That way we can have a piece here and it's the same on the other side. But I'm gonna make a template. That way I can create a piece of metal for this and then drill the holes out in the, you know, corresponding spots. And then that will be the base platform of basically the cradle, the front cradle or cross member, I should say, to hold the track bar and also kind of keep the frame, you know, together and stiff. What are you rating? He's over there chasing a bug. But that's what I'm gonna do right now. I'm going to make a template out of the cardboard, basically get, you know, from here to over here somewhere. And then I will transfer that template to over there to cut out with the plasma. Now I'm probably gonna cut it out with my hand torch, basically freestyle it, because trying to create something like, I mean, I could, but it'd take me a lot of time, a lot of measuring and all that. And if I could just make a template out of the cardboard and then transfer it over to some 1/4-inch steel and then just cut it out with my hand and then put the marks where the drill, you know, it's just a little bit easier, because the way this is it kind of, it's not straight, you know, it just don't go straight over like that, you know, it comes up at an angle. That means you'd have to find the angle and it kind of curves a little and then starts coming. It's just a headache. So now if I had a 3D like scanner, oh, we'd be game. So right now I'm going to try to make a template out of this and see what we can get done. And then I'm gonna probably continue grinding when the battery's charged when I get done with this. So I'm gonna set y'all up and try to get it in here to where y'all can see what I'm doing. Okay, so here's the rough template. I've already kind of put it in, see how it looks. Looks like it's gonna do pretty good. See if y'all can see it. So, I mean, it don't look too bad. You can kind of see where, you know, it divots down or in the frame. I just gotta I gotta make another one just like that. And then somewhere around here, I'm gonna have to like do a notch just because of where the bolt for the steering rack, or the gearbox, I should say, the gearbox bolts up at. So I gotta put like a little notch. So I just gotta make a couple more adjustments, like over here. I gotta make that kind of straight because it's kind of curvy. So I'm just gonna take a straight edge and kind of make that pretty straight, make another cut, and then find out where the bolt holes are, and that way I can put the holes in the cardboard for the corresponding, you know, spot. So I'm going to make that a little straighter on up top. You can't really see it because of that, but I'm gonna straighten that up and then make another one just like this. And then hopefully my battery is done so I can continue grinding on that, and then we'll see where we go with next. All right, so here's the driver's side. Finally got that grinded all the way down. It's flat, smooth, and of course before I finished on that, I told y'all that I was going to make the templates. So I'm gonna fit this one up. As you can see, I've already got the notch out for where it's gonna go there. So I'm gonna put this up here and show y'all kind of how it goes up there. So there it is. There's the end. It kind of goes into that crease right there. And then There's the cutout for that. So basically this plate's gonna sit in there just kind of like that, maybe a little more at an angle. I'll figure out, you know, exactly where I want it and then kind of tape it up or something, make sure this stays held in place. And then that way I can go back in and kind of push in where these bolt holes are and then transfer those bolt holes into this template. And then tomorrow we're going to get some 1/4" steel loaded up on the table and then start cutting out these templates. I'm not going to show you all this one just because it's the same thing and it's kind of basic. I just wanted to show you all the driver's side just because of the notch, but it goes up in the same way. So finally, with all the grinding out of the way, I hate grind dust. To be honest, the whole reason I've kind of put the show truck on the back burner is just because I had to grind off the rest of that stuff. And even though it was just a little bit and it didn't take me very long at all, it's just, oh man, the grind dust. And if you're in that wheel well, you know, the grind dust is still hot, and as you're cutting, it's kind of landing on you. I mean, yes, you could wear proper PPE and stuff, but who am I kidding? I'm in my own shop. I'm doing now I did wear my safety glasses. I did I did wear a welding cap. That way all the grinding dust didn't go in my hair and all that. Now, I did put on some sleeves and whatnot. Did my best to try to protect myself because, again, I do hate grinding dust very, very much. But finally, that is out of the way. Now it is, I'm going to say, I'm hoping that is it for all the grinding. If not, then I don't think there should be any like close quarters kind of grinding or sanding. So it should be good there. Now we're on to the home stretch. It's literally on to now where we can start cutting the stuff out, getting metal, putting new stuff back on basically. So I'm excited for that because now that just means we're getting closer and closer to being done. Well, I guess whenever tomorrow arrives for me, whenever I decide to start, y'all will see me then, which will be a couple seconds now.
3 weeks later.
All right, so as you see behind me, we got a good sized metal plate. It's about 31 inches, you know, this way, and it's about 8 foot, you know, from end to end. Got the crane here, going to weld something on that so this hook can hook onto it. Man, I need a forklift bad. But we're gonna get it up on the plasma table so I can cut out these templates that we just made. Well, we just made them. Me, on the other hand, it's been about 2 weeks. So it is now the weekend of, I think it's the 31st. Yes, it is July 31st as of right now. And I made this 2 weekends ago. I think it was a Saturday, maybe? Sunday? I can't remember. So it wasn't the weekend before this one. It was the weekend before last. Yeah, 2 weeks. I kind of hit a slow spell and just like didn't want to do anything. But now I'm back on it. I've got a little bit of motivation to get this thing continuing on. A lot of the hard parts really kind of over, like grinding, taking things apart. What it's really been for me is just, like I said, I don't have no forklift or anything, so getting this heavy metal kind of in. As you see, I got a cart that I kind of just, and as you see, the metal's rusty because I've been having to let it sit outside on my gooseneck because I picked it up with my gooseneck. And it's just been sitting outside for a while because I've had this metal for a while. But luckily, this piece was towards the end of the gooseneck, so I basically set the cart up at the very end and just kind of drug the metal off onto it and then had to bring it into the shop. So worked fairly well. I don't think this is something I want to do all the time, but I'm looking at getting a magnet big enough to for the hoist to pick up, instead of me having to weld on something so the hook can hook onto, because I don't have that yet. And those magnets are kind of expensive. Even like I've checked Vivor, and I'm looking at maybe an 800 pound to 1,000 pound one. I don't ever see myself going up that high in a piece of metal, but it's something that I know is going to be able to handle what I'm doing. Like this sheet of metal right here is probably about 250 pounds. So it might be a little less than that, but it's somewhere around there. Can I lift that? Yes. Do I want to? No. It's also very awkward if you're gonna try to pick something up like this. It's not like weightlifting where you got a bar with the weights on the end, you know. So I'm going to stop yapping, and then we're going to weld something onto here so I can get it up in the air and get it on the plasma table so we can cut out these templates and finally start getting somewhere. So let's do it. Okay, so I took a U-bolt and just kind of cut it down a little bit, and I'm just going to tack this on there and then pick it up. I'm going to move the sheet of metal onto the legs of the hoist because the hoist won't go no more. Don't be me. Okay, so got the piece of steel up here. I'm gonna bring the templates over and trace them out, and then get to cut them out. I need to be, of course, very careful in doing this because I've got multiple tries. It's just I don't want to have to do multiple redos. So, all right, so we got both templates here. I'm gonna get my paint marker and then just basically trace around here without trying to use as much material. I want to try to be a little conservative just because I do need to still use the rest of the sheet for making some of, I got more 1/4 inch steel. It's just unloading and loading this table is not going to be very easy without a forklift. So I will also be using the hand torch instead of the CNC machine itself. I guess I'm going to go ahead and start tracing this out. All right, so there's one template kind of marked out. I'm just gonna go ahead and do the other one. Now, what I'm gonna do after I get them cut out is I'm just gonna cut them out and make sure they kind of match up to here, and of course on the truck as well. And then when I know they're good, I'm then going to transfer some holes to where these are actually gonna mount onto the frame. There's some existing factory holes that some bolts go through, and that's what's going to hold these up, and basically that front cross member that's going to hold the track bar too. So there's 6 of them total. I think there's like one way over here, and then there's 4 in the middle, and then there's one on the other side. So I'm just going to make sure everything looks good when I get done with it, and then I'll transfer the holes to here, put this on top of that, and then basically, you know, get them drilled out. So I'm gonna go ahead and trace that one out and then get ready to cut these out. All right, so I got my FR shirt on. That way I don't get no sparks on me and all that. I'm gonna have my gloves. I'm gonna go very slow with this because I really don't want to mess it up. And then I guess let's go ahead and start. I mean, if I take off a little too much, it's not gonna hurt it. But I do want to try to stay at least on a little bit of the outside of the line, or at least right on it. So I'm gonna take my time, make sure, you know, everything's good. If it's freehanding something like this, you know, it is a little difficult, but we can always shape it up with a flat disc and grinder and all that. So let's go ahead and start cutting this. So I had to stop because the swirl ring got stopped up. The nozzle is somewhat stopped up. I might be able to put a pick down there and get it cleaned up. I might have another one of these. I should have some more of these. I know I got to replace this one for sure. This is pretty cooked. But this, on the other hand, I should have one of these. If not, I might have to cut the rest of that out with the grinding wheel, and I hope I don't have to. So I'm gonna check my drawer for my plasma stuff and get back to hopefully cutting this with this. All right, so I did have new ones. In that last clip, I know I showed this right here. It looked like it was eat up. I do want you to know, if you don't know anything about plasma cutters or anything like that, it does not come out of this. This is just part of the machining. What happens is the compressed air swirls around this along with of course, the electrical making the plasma or whatever. It basically swirls down this, and then it comes down to this tip, and then that's where it shoots out of here. That's kind of the basic way of me explaining it the best I can right now. If you want to look more into it, you know, you go look up a YouTube video or something, but yeah, nothing comes out of here. It was ate up so bad right here, it kind of ended up eating into the tip. But I'm gonna replace these and then hopefully get back to cutting it out. All right, so we're back in business. Let's get back to cutting. All right, so we just got the other one cut out. I'm gonna let those cool down. See, shop is very smoky. I got both doors open. Try to get this smoke out of here for the time being. Hopefully that's all I gotta cut right now, at least for this video. We'll see if I end up actually cutting out the brace or whatnot, but so I guess I'm gonna sit around, wait for all this smoke to kind of get out the shop, hopefully. And then I'm gonna somewhat clean up. I just close the doors and everything, let the AC kind of kick back on. You see, I got that one there, and I got another one right there. Keeps the shop pretty cool even without any insulation. It's the one back there is I think 24,000 BTU, and then that one right there is 22,000 BTU. So it's about to the equivalent of a 4-ton unit. I eventually maybe plan on putting a little bit. I'm probably going to do some foam insulation boards. That's probably as far as I'm going to go as insulation. And then hopefully it'll keep the shop, you know, a little bit cooler, because right now it's been on the hottest days, like with it being 96, you probably have about a 10-degree difference. So if it's 96 outside beating on this metal building, it's about 86 on the inside, but it's a cool 86 and low humidity to no humidity. So, but like I said, I'm gonna let this smoke get out and let those parts cool down, and then we'll go on to the next thing. All right, so here they are, got them cleaned up roughly. The slag came off pretty easily. I chipped it off with my chipper over there, just chipped off the slag. The cut did very well. I'm actually pleased with it. Not a lot of slag, especially after we changed out the tip and the spiral. I forgot it, but anyways, after changing that stuff out, it cut very well, and I'm super pleased with it. Like I said, I did a good, not necessarily good, but I did a rough surface finish on it. Now, it's jagged on the edges, of course, you know, like that. But right now, I'm just worried about, you know, getting everything mocked up. We can go later and clean this up. Probably going to clean it up with a belt sander or something, and I don't have one of those just yet. So that might have to come in the future when I get ready to, of course, finish everything up. I mean, I could do it with the grinder, but that just, it's not going to be as accurate as I probably want. But anyways, I done mocked it up, put it up there to see how it fit. This one, I had to cut a little off the back end of it because this was cut because there's a bolt right here. Well, near here, there's also a bolt. It butts up against it. It's still centered up here, but the back end it was a little further from, because there's a little dip where this sits, and it was sitting on the higher end, so there was like a gap behind it. So I ended up just cutting that off. There's still room for the bolt where it's gonna go. It's just gonna kind of be close somewhere around here. Not sure exactly, but this one, I just put it up there to see how it looked, and this one looked very well. So now I'm gonna get the templates, go back over to the truck, and basically get the holes punched in there so I can put it back on here and mark where the holes are gonna go. Okay, so as you can see, we got the template in. We got all the holes kind of cut out-ish. We got the bolts started where they are. So now I'm gonna take the bolts out and transfer this to the metal and then start drilling these holes out, and hopefully it lines up pretty well. It looks like it does here. It may have moved it down a little because there's more of a lip on the bottom now, but if it is, then I can just grind down the metal piece and go from there. But all right, so we got the circles kind of transferred onto the metal. I don't know if y'all can see that. There's one here, two here, and one here. So I'm gonna go ahead and start drilling them out. I'm gonna drill them out to 1/2 inch because the bolts are 1/2 inch. If I have to, I'll go up 1/16 of an inch, go to 9/16, and drill them out that way. But right now we're going to go with 1/2 and see if they do good or line up with the bolt holes. Alright, so we got the holes drilled out. Now we're just going to go over there and test, see what it looks like. If you're wondering what I'm using in between drilling, instead of using like cutting oil or something like that, this is more like a paste, I guess. It's like a cutting lube. It's made from Spider. It's called Mock Blue Go. And I mean, it's pretty nice. And I just want to make sure my drill bits don't overheat or break. No, I'm not sponsored, but it's pretty good, and I like it. So let's go and test fit this up. All right, so I got some bolts started. They're not all the way in. Some of the holes aren't lining up. That's just because the cardboard is a little more forgiving than, of course, a 1/4 inch piece of steel. So I'm gonna go back over there and I'm gonna drill them out maybe another 1/16 of an inch. We're gonna go from half to 9/16. And just see what it looks like. If not, I'll go up another 16th and hopefully that does it. They're not off by far, but they're definitely off, so let me do that. All right, guys, so the plate is in. It is bolted down. I got them all tight. It really pulled up against the frame when I tightened it down, of course, but I mean, it looks pretty good the way it is, to be honest. Take this back off, of course, and then go trace these holes onto the other one, make sure it's the right way when I do it. I believe the other side is just mirrored. I will take this piece of metal over there just to see exactly if it's the same or whatnot, but it's up there and it's looking, I mean, it don't look like anything right now, but this is what's gonna hold the truss that's gonna go underneath the engine, and then is gonna go from that side of the track bar down to the axle. It's basically, when I get these in and I make that, which I don't even, actually I can't even make that yet. I can't even make the engine cross member. I'm gonna have to get the axle under here, get it where it's gonna set, and I'm actually gonna have to center everything up and then start designing the truss, and then I can make this, because I'm gonna have to make where the track bar meets up to over here to the axle side. Got to make sure that's kind of in line with the pitman arm, because you want to make sure the track bar and the drag bar are somewhat parallel with each other. So let's go ahead and get this other side on. All right, so we got the other plate in. It is tight, it is in there. Man, am I ready to really start getting everything going. Now, of course, you see stuff like that. Might trim that up, of course, round it off. Try to make it a little bit more, you know, smoother and whatnot. But for the most part, we got the rough idea. And I can't wait to really see it start coming together. But we're probably going to end it here. This video might not be very long, but it's going to be a little bit, you know, probably a little shorter than some of them. Try to shorten up the video so y'all don't have to watch super long videos, but we did make quite a bit of progress, you know. Might not seem like it, but doing something like this custom, it's definitely going to take some time, some fine tuning, but I'm definitely pleased with how these are coming out so far. Next, we're going to get the axle underneath the truck in line with everything else and really start seeing how it's going to come together. When I get the axle under there, I'm going to have to take measurements, what the truss is going to look like. Of course, going to see what the angle of the drag bar is going to look like. And then that way I can get a somewhat rough draft of what the track bar is going to look like. So I know how big to make, or how far I need to drop the bracket so it stays in line with the drag bar. But with all that said, guys, I hope y'all enjoyed this video of the show truck. We're definitely going to try to make more and more progress as we go. It's just very slow right now. But I'm happy I finally got a very big piece of it, and that's making those frame plates, because without those frame plates, you really can't go nowhere. You can, like the last person who ever built this truck for the customer, they ended up welding the actual stuff to the frame. And as I've explained in previous videos, I'm not a very big fan of that, because if you're not doing like a frame off type build, where if you're not taking everything apart, stripping the frame, you know, all that, those parts will not be powder coated. So doing a bolt-on style like this, you can unbolt that whole assembly from the frame and get it powder coated, and it'll bolt right back up, and now you have powder coated, you know, suspension parts instead of having to paint it black or spray painting it. So, but I'm gonna quit talking, and I guess I'll see y'all in the next one. Give me noggin.